Yeah, I figured that we were going to see a lot of rumors and trade activity leading into the 2017 NBA draft. Teams are trying to get rid of salary, they're trying to create flexibility, accumulate additional draft pick currency, doing all these types of things. Some teams are maybe looking at it and saying, oh my God, how are we going to contend with the Warriors and even the Cavaliers in the Western and Eastern Conference, respectively? Should we just throw in the towel and wait 3 to 4 years for this whole thing to kind of pass over? So I'm not surprised that there's a flurry of trade activity, talk of rumors, and is Paul George going to get traded, Jimmy Butler going to get traded, and so on and so forth. But you can imagine my surprise when I go to social media today and I see the announcement that the Los Angeles Lakers have traded D'Angelo Russell and Timothy Mozgov to the Brooklyn Nets for Brook Lopez and the 27th overall pick in this upcoming Thursday's NBA draft. It floored me. And my first reaction was, what the hell are the Lakers doing? You have D'Angelo Russell, who's all of 21 years old or so, talking about a kid who has only played in the league 2 years. So his best basketball, you would think, is clearly ahead of him. Trading him as part of a package to get the 27th overall pick in the first round in this draft, a late first round pick, and an expiring contract in Brook Lopez, who plays an outdated style of basketball at the center position. And my first reaction is, what the hell are they doing? You gave up a former number 2 overall pick with only 2 years in the league just so you could dump Timothy Mozgov's contract? What the fuck are Magic and Palinka doing? That was the first reaction that I had. I'm like, what in the hell is going on here? But then, as I took a quick second and took a step back, I'm like, what the hell are they doing? It makes a lot of sense. When you look at the Lakers, they know that even with the young kids and so on and so forth, they're going to have to get one or two big name veteran impact players, free agents in the future. So the only way you're going to be able to do that is to create enough salary cap space where you can be the big players and you can offer them the max money, because ultimately, you know, there's arguably, outside of maybe the Celtics, and you could even say that argument has skewed more towards the Lakers in recent years, that the Lakers are the most prestigious franchise in NBA history in terms of star power, in terms of championships won, finals appearances, all of the entirety of the package, impact the media market that they play in, so on and so forth. They are everything that the Knicks should have been all throughout the history of the league. So you know that if you have a situation where you even the most remotely appealing, you have any type of infrastructure in place at all in terms of young talent, and you have the ability to offer stars big max contracts, these guys are going to look at it and say, holy shit, I can go here to LA, be a part of this legacy, be a part of this tradition, be the next kind of step in the hierarchy or on the Lakers ladder, whatever you want to call it. And all the while, I get to go play in the second biggest media market in the country. Imagine all the endorsement opportunities that are out there. Imagine the opportunities in the movie industry, the music industry being right there in the heart of Hollywood. So when you look at this, you say, why would you give up the number 2 overall pick from 2 years ago to get Brook Lopez and his expiring contract and the 27th overall pick? It's very simple. Number one, they wanted to get rid of Timothy Mozgov's contract. This was something that was signed and put into place by a previous regime. So it makes sense you want to move on from those bad decisions. And do you want to be on the hook for a couple more years of Mozgov at $15-16 million per year? I don't think so. I would much rather have Brook Lopez's contract, which, where it's more for that 1 year, is only going to be one more year. So after 2017-2018 season is complete, I can walk away from Brook Lopez and not be on the hook for anything if I don't want to be. Let the Nets pay for Mozgov for a few years. As far as D'Angelo Russell goes, yeah, he's only been in the league 2 years, but you have some of the crap of what went down with him secretly recording teammates, the fact that it doesn't seem like he's really taken that much of a big step in a progression of his career. Talking about now, thinking about bringing in Lonzo Ball, do you feel like those two guys could really play well together? Furthermore, do you want to possibly create a situation where D'Angelo Russell is potentially going behind Lonzo Ball's back and trying to undercut the Rook when it needs to be Lonzo Ball's show? So from being concerned about how these two guys would play together and fit in the Lakers backcourt, but furthermore, how it would fit and work in terms of the locker room, it makes a lot of sense. You're in the position to take Lonzo Ball. They're looking like they're going to take Lonzo Ball. How much did you really need D'Angelo Russell at this point? And how big of a cog in the wheel was he going to be long term for them? And then on top of that, with getting rid of Mozgov's deal, with getting D'Angelo Russell off of the books, now you got the 27th overall pick where you could potentially even take an international player and draft and stash him for a couple of years. So you're not adding any money potentially to the cap there. Or even if you do, it's just a little over $1 million. So it's not that much in the grand scheme of things. Now you bring in Brook Lopez for 1 year. And after this upcoming season, his contract is completely off of the books. Now you're in a situation where you're the Lakers, where you've created a ton of cap space to where you now have the flexibility to go out in free agency and be able to potentially give max money to Paul George and or LeBron James. Now, is this just fantasy? Is this just media hype? I don't know. We're going to find out in about a year, aren't we? But the Lakers right now have a lot going for them in terms of trying to appeal to a Paul George and a LeBron James. I think everybody believes it's a foregone conclusion that Paul George, a California kid, is going to end up going to the Lakers. It's the matter of, can you lure LeBron away from Cleveland? He wants to be a billion-dollar athlete. Maybe he wants to take on the challenge of actually playing in the Western Conference at some stage of his career. He wants to play in this major media market. It's great for the LeBron brand in one sense. So now you've got the Lakers, who can have Magic Johnson, a 5-time NBA champion, one of the greatest players in the history of the league, go and make the recruiting pitch. You can, do all types of things. You could have Kobe Bryant go make the pitch if you feel like that's going to work. You have all this money that you can offer. You have some young pieces in place. You're going to have Alonzo Ball. You're going to have some other young kids. Maybe you look at Jordan Clarkson and Julius Randle and Ivica Zubac, and you think like these are guys that would be appealing potentially to big name free agents like a Paul George or a LeBron James. Look, and when you're the Lakers, you're looking at it right now. It's nice to think about young kids, young kids, young kids. But you could be spending 3 or 4 years developing these young kids, and all the while, the Warriors are absolutely dominating the Western Conference, and you're no closer to relevancy or really competing with them than you were 3 or 4 years before when you were thinking about all the potential, the possibility of what could be. The Lakers had to make this move. Sometimes you have to get rid of players maybe you don't want to get rid of for the greater good. And the greater good for the Lakers right now is that they're clearing out D'Angelo Russell, who frankly projected himself as a bit of a head case. Now you're clearing the way where Lonzo Ball can come in as a rookie and potentially take over that locker room and assume the mantle and the reins of leadership of this organization and then of this team. And you've also given him a chance to really shine in that backcourt for a year to see how he progresses, how he develops, what type of player he could potentially be at the NBA level. And now you go with Alonzo Ball looking like, if he could look like a future star. Now that looks incredibly appealing for a Paul George to come play with him. That might also look appealing for a LeBron James to come play with him. This is all about next year. That's what this draft is all about. It's about clearing out cap space and getting yourself positioned to start really rebuilding behind Lonzo Ball and thinking ahead to the 2018 summer and what you could potentially get with Paul George and or LeBron James coming to town. Or if you want to go even further, thinking about guys like Anthony Davis and Russell Westbrook down the road, there are options, there are possibilities there. The point being is the Lakers made the right move here. They didn't have a choice. Because if they didn't trade Mozgov, you're running the risk of maybe only being able to bring in one of those guys. Now you're in a position where come next year with some maneuvering and so on and so forth, you're looking at being able to potentially bring in both of those guys. And all the while, you're looking at a Lakers team right now that has picks 2, 27, and 28 in this draft. What I really like about this from their perspective is knowing they're going to hit free agency hard next year, trying to bring in one or both of these guys. If you get into a situation where these guys want as much money as possible, so you have to orchestrate sign and trades, that means you're probably going to have to give up several future first-round picks, like the Heat had to do to get LeBron, like the Cavs had to do to get LeBron, so on and so forth. So what does that ultimately mean? What that means is you're not going to have an influx of young talent for years. So why not get some of those young pieces in place at very low manageable cap numbers, especially with the way the salary cap has exploded in the NBA over the past couple of years, and see what you got in these guys. what the hell are the Lakers doing? They're doing something, frankly, that makes a lot of sense. Now, will it work? Will it all pan out? Only time will tell. But I don't see why anybody would be too upset about this, frankly.